the International Hotel School started its relationship with Digital Lab back in 2010, and Mike kind of revolutionized our digital marketing for us. And towards the end of last year, the site that he had developed, which was the second one, had reached some of its capacity in terms of functionality and things, and there was a lot more that we wanted out of the website. So in discussions with Mike, he came back to me with another solution and said, look, if we revamp it and redo it and we'll add in these kind of functionalities, you're going to get a lot more out of it. And from that, the new site was birthed.
Quite simply, I think what we did is we went back to kind of the technology drawing board in a sense. We had been doing a lot of work on the same type of tech for quite a while. And what we realized was that there was a big trend about 5 years ago to go minimalist on everybody's websites, to eradicate imagery and just work with text and work hard with copy to try and get people to create actions. And while it worked, a brand like the International Hotel School, which is very visual and which sells a dream, really, to do that in text on a white background wasn't exactly the most exciting way to present the brand. And so we went and looked at a whole pile of new technologies that were around that allowed us to be able to use strong imagery as the basis to what we were doing. And I think the more we looked at it, the more we realized that this was quite important, because the imagery and the graphic composure brought back quite a lot of emotion back to that web experience. And then obviously, once we got that kind of idea, we then said, okay, well, we need to take this to web and to mobile and all these different scenarios. And we obviously went with the route of responsive design. The designer on the team went strong imagery, and then kind of with more like an app type approach to the navigation. So speaking to a much younger audience, that for us made quite a big difference. Kind of through the process, the brief kind of, I wouldn't say changing, but it would morph itself as people started to realize, actually, we're sitting on something quite fantastic here, and could we extend it in this direction, in that direction. So it was less so like a standard agency approach where it was a client who gave you a brief. It was more a collaboration between a marketer who really understood what they wanted and an agency who was just trying to bring new technologies to the forefront to help achieve that.
A website's got to be more than just an online brochure. It's got to actually deliver leads, and obviously we're about getting students through the door, and so it's about assisting them on that journey in coming to us. So it's got to be able to deliver information which can be easily found and accessed. For me, it had to be a little bit more interactive and a little bit more about the experience of what this world of hospitality is all about.
Yeah, I remember quite an agonizing conversation as we sort of discussed this idea of moving from a WordPress platform to a new platform based on the back end of Drupal. And that was a big step for what we'd done, because it was something that was working and then having to make that shift across. And so working inside a Drupal background allowed us to do a lot more customization. We were able to work with APIs, say from Google Maps, to create student hotspot maps, which is something we could never do nicely and graphically within a WordPress backend. We also would never have been able to, in a sense, hack a WordPress infrastructure enough to be able to achieve the visual elements of what we were wanting to achieve. There were new ways of being able to crunch imagery so that you could still have a high quality looking image and display it well. And there were also new ways of creating loading structures so that the imagery could load and then sort of blend into the experience instead of feel like you kind of jutting your way through that load experience.
Our previous website, it had mobile sort of in it, but it wasn't a mobile site. And so part of the brief was that we need to actually increase the mobile traffic, and we need to make it a bit more mobile friendly. And we've more than doubled our mobile traffic since we've launched the new website, which for us has been fantastic.
And then the other thing which was quite important is that IHS had made the move to a new CRM platform. So moving from a very manual CRM process, there was now a need to start working with APIs of existing CRM systems for all the application forms and things like that. So there was just, brands grow up and brands get to a point where there's just a need to work with more people and be more collaborative in your web interface. And it's not a case of owning everything that's in play. It's a case of integrating with everything that we need to achieve what we're looking for. And so that was a lot of what we saw are these kind of shifts in how we were managing things, and now having to kind of recreate that customer front end that seemed as seamless as possible with various different software APIs in the background.
We got a bronze in our category for corporate website, and we were very, very proud when Mike phoned me to say that we'd been nominated and everything. I was so excited. I even invited myself to the awards before he could actually invite me. And he said he was going to invite me, but I didn't care. I was still going with.